Well,
What's going on, vinyl community? It's Tone. I'm back to do my last split vinyl finds. As you guys know, over the past maybe quarter of a year, about 3 months, I've been trying to catch up on all of my new finds from kind of the last half of last year and all through the beginning of this year. And in order to do that, what I decided to do was split them up, the old and the new. I did the new for May, and that is anything after 2000, whether it's an old artist or not. If it was released, after 2000, I'll show it. And anything before 2000 would be the old. So I already did the new for May. I know I'm a little late. I'm a couple days into June, but I wanted to knock out the one for last month. And so this is the old. And I got a tiny stack to go through, about 6 albums or so. And got some pretty good stuff. A couple of them I purchased online. All the other ones I got in store in the wild. So without any further ado, let's get going. And first one is, I'm going to show a couple of jazz records, 2-3 jazz records. First one I was able to come across was this Ahmad Jamal that I didn't have. Out of all the Ahmad Jamal that I have, which is quite a bit, I didn't have Standardize. And wasn't even really that familiar with the album until I came across it. Of course, I listened to some of it online before I purchased it. And it's absolute Ahmad Jamal. I mean, you can tell if you're an Ahmad Jamal fan, which I am. It's him. It's just got his thumbprint all over it. It's a post-bop / cool jazz record. But it's got some great tracks on it, like Taboo. And it's all recorded live. I think this is a 1967 release. It's on Cadet. It is the stereo pressing. I believe there's a mono pressing of this as well. This is the stereo pressing. Sounds fantastic. Cadet didn't have the best luck with pressings. It's kind of the same thing with Stax. Early Stax pressings from the mid 60s to the late 60s really didn't have a great reputation of sounding that great in terms of the pressing. Same thing with Cadet, but this is a really good sounding record. It helps that it's a live record, so there's that leeway for forgiveness because it's live. But it's a great sounding record. It is on the standard Cadet for that era. The record's almost near mint. The cover's a solid VG+. And it's a great record. Taboo was a fantastic song. Like Someone in Love, great slow, cool jazz song. And then Angel Eyes. Angel Eyes is my favorite song on this record. Fantastic song. Just amazing Ahmad Jamal. There's not a personnel listing on this record. Most of the Cadet records, or the Cadet jazz records I have, don't have a personnel listing. I don't know why. I guess that's just the way that they did it. But it's a great record. I mean, it's definitely something I'll listen to a few times a year. It's not something I'm gonna try to pull out once a year. I've been listening to it a lot lately, and it's a great record. So I do recommend that one. The other one is one I've been looking for a little while. I could have bought it online, but I didn't. I ran across this in Ventura, in North Los Angeles, at Giacomo Records, which is the furthest north record store in the greater LA area in North Los Angeles. It's the last one before you get on the freeway and start traveling north to like Carpinteria or Santa Barbara, California. But it's the kind of the last stop for the furthest part of what would be considered North Los Angeles. And it's Giacomo Records. It was playing, and I'm like, I'm a huge Pat Metheny fan. And I was like, man, this sounds like Pat Metheny. I could just tell by the guitar work. And I've got a shit ton of Pat Metheny. And I heard it, and I'm like, man, this is a great sounding album. And I asked the guy, what is this? And he showed me, and it was this, which I had been looking for. It's his first release as Pat Metheny group. And it's a great, easygoing fusion record. Return to Forever, blah, 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 blah. All that stuff. So if you are a Pat Metheny fan or you're familiar with his work, you know he's an absolutely brilliant guitarist. Just brilliant. The whole Metheny family, really. Pat Metheny is a fantastic trumpeter and flugelhornist and cornet player as well. But, you know, Pat is the one that really kind of took the limelight out of the two. And this is a great album. It's got Dan Gottlieb on drums, fantastic job. Lyle Mays and Mark Egan on bass. Lyle Mays, man. Lyle Mays floats through this thing on the synthesizers, on the Oberheim, on piano, and he does a great job. But Pat Metheny really just flies through this entire record flawlessly. So if you're a Pat Metheny fan, a fusion fan, and you don't have this record, I would totally recommend picking it up. It's not that expensive. I think I paid $10 for it. It's in fantastic shape, beautiful shape. It doesn't complete my Pat Metheny or Pat Metheny group collection, but I'm close. So fantastic record, fantastic. The other one is an older record. A lot of people, especially jazz fans, they kind of snub their nose or put their nose up at jazz vocals and or pop vocals. But I happen to be being a vocalist myself, a huge fan of jazz vocals. I mean, I've got a shit ton of it. For anything from your standard pop vocals, Nat King Cole, to a lot of Billie Holiday, a lot of Sarah Vaughan, etc., etc., etc. So I found this, and I believe I picked this one up at Record Outlet in North LA. I think I did Record Outlet, was my very first Record Store Spotlight Series video. If you haven't seen that, you can see the inside of Record Outlet. This is Arthur Prysock, Art and Soul. I think this album is 1966 on Verve. It's on the blue Verve label. It's a stereo pressing. It's VG Plus cover, almost near mint vinyl. It's I won't call it a full jazz vocal record. I mean, it's not a full pop vocal record. And what I mean by maybe jazz vocals is not particularly any certain jazz vocal style, but just the track, the song or the music, the production that he's singing over in a lot of the songs are bona fide jazz tracks that he's singing over. And some of them are pop, your standard easy listening pop. But if you're a fan of Johnny Hartman, and most John Coltrane fans, if they're going to pick a jazz vocalist, they're going to gravitate to Johnny Hartman because of their work together. However, if you're a Johnny Hartman fan, this guy, and if you're not familiar with Arthur Prysock, this guy would be super in your wheelhouse. It's a great record. Wasn't that expensive. I do have quite a few of his other records, and it turned out to be one of my favorite Arthur Prysock records. It's a great album. Art and Soul, 1966 on Verve. Arthur Prysock, fantastic vocalist. All right, switching genres. One of my favorite soul singers, Latin soul singers of all time, Joe Bataan. Talked about him before in other videos regarding Latin soul or Boogaloo music, or Latin jazz. And Joe Bataan is an amazing, if you're not familiar with what Boogaloo is, Boogaloo was a nickname given to a certain style of soul music with a Latin flair that came out of Spanish Harlem in the mid-60s and continued on through the mid-70s, kind of venturing then more into kind of soul disco. This record, 1976 on SalSoul /Epic Records, is the first pressing of this record. SalSoul is a label that was formed based off of his kind of guidance with the people who founded the label SalSoul. SalSoul was a movement, where Boogaloo was the style of Latin soul. SalSoul was the movement, kind of like hip-hop is a culture or a movement, and in that, the form of music that comes out of that is rap. So SalSoul is a movement or a culture, and out of that came Boogaloo and later forms of Latin vocal jazz. And so if you were, SalSoul was a term that was used to describe the movement or the culture that you followed. And it ended up being the name of a label based off of the album that was previous to this one. And this is a fantastic record. It is a little bit Latin soul, Latin jazz. There's definitely a little bit of Cuban funk in there. And early soul disco. And when I mean disco, I don't mean pop disco like, Casey and the Sunshine Band or Do the Hustle and all of that, things that people traditionally, immediately think everything disco sounds like that. But disco, in a sense, with the early syncopated drum rhythms and symphonic sounds mixed with Latin soul. And that's that type of maybe later Four Tops, later Isaac Hayes type of sound. That's all in here. Fantastic record. Amazing, amazing, amazing record. Again, of course, I'll put links down below so you could hear bits and pieces from everything that I show. But this is Afrofilipino, 1976 on Epic/SalSoul, and it came on the orange Epic label. But if you look right up here in the corner, you can see that the SalSoul insignia. And the way that you know that this is the first pressing is SalSoul must have been able to get an imprint deal through Epic Records based on their relationship with Joe Bataan. And after this record, Joe Bataan went directly on to Columbia, and the SalSoul label now put out everything on their own branded label. Nothing past this record on the Epic/SalSoul. So if you find this record and you see it on the SalSoul label, believe it or not, Discogs has it backwards. Discogs has that the SalSoul label ones are the original releases, when it's actually the Epic/SalSoul imprint label that is the first pressing, and then everything after this, almost the same year, I think, when he left and went on to Columbia, is actually the reissues. So if you want a first pressing of this, get the one that is the orange Epic/SalSoul label, that one. Fantastic record. Fantastic record. The next record is another Joe Bataan record. I just mentioned it, the one that was previous to the Afrofilipino record. And this is titled SalSoul. Joe Bataan SalSoul. This is a straight Latin jazz/Latin soul or Boogaloo record. 1972 on Americana Records. And this is the first pressing of that also. There's the Americana label. Unbelievable. Unreal record. Fantastic. Beautiful Afro-Cuban rhythms over great Spanish vocals, and then you'll transition into another song which is more Latin soul Boogaloo with English vocals. So it's an English-Spanish record. It is amazing. It is my second favorite Joe Bataan record. Of course, the first one being St. Latin's Day Massacre, which was the album right before this one, and is probably the most expensive Joe Bataan record that you'll ever be able to seek out. This one's not that bad. It's not that bad. You can probably have a fantastic copy for about 30 bucks. I've seen some near mint copies go for around 40, but if you want a good copy, anywhere between 20 and 30 bucks for a good copy, and anything, you know, less than that is not even worth getting. This one is a little less expensive, but still is not cheap. You know, you're going to probably spend 15, you know, maybe 20, 25 bucks on it. So those Joe Bataans are fantastic. This is, again, I don't know if I told you, this is on Americana, 1972. And because of the title of the album, SalSoul, which he got from the name of that culture, that's why they started the label, based off of this. So, next record, changing genres. Ars Longa Vita Brevis, The Nice. Of course, this is Keith Emerson's first real band. And it's okay. It's not bad. It's not something I'll pull out all the time. I have been listening to it quite a bit lately. I didn't have a copy of it. I did find this in store as well. It's a fantastic cover with almost near mint vinyl. 1968 on Immediate Records, and it's on the original Immediate pink label. Right there. It's good. It's symphonic prog, and then kind of venturing into some little bit strange psych, folk, pop, rock, psych, and then back into some progressive, symphonically progressive sounds. So it's a bit of a mishmash, but I'd recommend it. I mean, if you're a Keith Emerson fan, Emerson, Lake and Palmer fan, and a prog fan, it's probably an essential part of a collection. Nothing that I'm going to, again, listen to all the time, but I do like it. 1968 on Immediate Records. Last but not least, this one I got online. I realized I didn't have this, nor was I ever aware of this record. This is 1971 on Columbia. This is Michelangelo. All one word, Michelangelo. One Voice, Many is the title of the record. Sorry for the glare. It is a West Coast sounding country rock / psych folk pop psych record. And it is really, really good. I was online searching for another Michelangelo, not all one word, record of a recent release from an artist by the name of Michelangelo from the late 70s. It was a psych album. And this particular album, which I'll be showing later, I think someone's already shown it. I was looking for that record and this kind of popped up. And I was totally unaware of it. It's led by this chick right here, named Angel, and that's all she goes by. And she plays auto harp, and it's pretty dope. It's a really good record. Didn't have it. So glad I pulled it into the collection. 1971 on the Columbia One Eye Red transition label into the 70s. That famous label. It is a first pressing, and it is highly recommended by me. Great psych folk, pop psych / country rock record. West Coast, Bay Area, Country Joe and the Fish. Even slightly reminiscent of the Byrds. Slightly reminiscent of the Byrds for sure. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. Highly recommended. All right, guys, that's it for this showing. From now on, going this point forward, it's going to be just normal new music finds, old stuff, new stuff. I'm pretty much caught up over the past 3 months. So that's it. Thanks for checking it out. I'll be jumping back into some of your guys' videos very shortly. And I'm going to get this uploaded before it gets too much further into June. Are we in July already? June. And that's about it. All right. As always, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for checking it out. Thanks for commenting, all that stuff. And God bless you guys very richly. And I'll see you real soon.
Well, when